a pint of joy to a peck of trouble, never to laugh because the moans come double. Paul Lawrence Dunbar. And that poem really resonates as I move throughout the borough of Brooklyn. People are going through a period of some awesome pain. And I've said over and over again that hurt people hurt people. But if we can only see beyond that pain, and one great mind stated that the only thing that's worse than sight is to have sight and lack vision. And we are in a void of visionaries. We're not in a void of more CEOs and more politicians, but we're a void of people who can see beyond where we are and see where we ought to go. And that's the role of Borough President. How do we turn the popularity of this brand we call Brooklyn into prosperity for all Brooklynites? That's the goal. We can't have a Brooklyn that will be defined merely because we have a Barclays Center where the Nets put balls through a hoop on a basketball court when our children and family members are going through criminal court or family court because they're trying to hold on to the parts of Brooklyn that they earn. When we were waking up to gunshots and not alarm clocks, we stayed. Now we have to make sure Brooklyn continues to be a place where we can raise healthy children and families. And nothing is more healthy than coming to an event on Mother Gaston Boulevard where we are actually doing poetry to nourish not only our physical anatomy, but our spiritual anatomy, because if we don't start dealing with that, we will be ugly from the inside out. And there's some beautiful people in the borough of Brooklyn, and I'm happy to be the borough president of the borough of 2.6 million people. And so I want to thank you for inviting me, and I came in at the right time because the dancing was really heating up the room. And we want to take poetry downtown. I have been meeting with some great poets in the city. We want to have a poetry reading and spoken word throughout the entire Borough Hall. We want to open Borough Hall to allow people to have access to utilize poetry, song, and dance, and music. I'm amazed as I crisscross the borough and find out how many people have never been in Borough Hall and don't even know where the building is. It can't continue to be this sterilized environment that is aloof and away from everyday people. We want to find creative ways for folks to come inside the building and use the building. That is your building. Just like this beautiful library and heritage house belongs to you, so too does Borough Hall. It doesn't belong to some people, it belongs to all the people who are part of the borough of Brooklyn. And I want the welcome mat to be uniquely used where you can feel comfortable enough to know you can come up in there anytime you want and hold events like this. You can hold it in Brownsville and you can hold it in downtown Brooklyn. Thank you so much for allowing me to come in.
Please give it up for our Borough President.
Thank you, sir. I am totally honored and humbled that you would take time out of your busy schedule of running the largest city, the largest borough, the city of New York. But we know that that Brooklyn is a world unto itself. So thank you, sir. Without further ado, we're going to bring up one of our poets. This brother does not need any introduction. I'm going to bring out Quindell. Come on, give it up for Quindell. Stomp your feet, clap your hands until we get to this mic. Come on, he needs that energy. He needs that energy. Give it up for him. Come on, until he gets to this microphone, you can clap your hands, you can stomp your feet, you can shout, you can scream, you can show him some love. Thank you.
This Poet Cafe is really wonderful. I was one of the poets at Reconciling last weekend, and that date defined what it is to share this talent, what it is to live life as well, because I made a quote up that day that kind of, I think everybody in this room can relate to. And it probably was like 11 o'clock in the morning when I made that quote up, Mr. Harris.
Yes, sir.
It's like 11 in the morning, like right when we got to the gate of Rikers, I felt the energy of like resistance at the door. And like, for a minute, just as a visitor, I felt like an inmate. And the quote went something like, when you're going, expect unexpected stops. Because when you're going, the key is to expect unexpected stops. Because behind every door is another one that's locked. There's always going to be challenges. And I made that up when we got to the prison gate. And at that moment, it branched off and created life. Like, we got there, I made that quote up, and when we went to sign up, they was like, none of y'all names is on the paper. It was 5 poets and only 1 poet had their name signed up, even though we all turned our paperwork in. The names were messed up. And then right after that, there was a rumble, there was a fight in the prison, so it was on lockdown, so the inmates we came to do this poetry for was no longer available. It was done for the day, it was shut down. It was like, nah, yeah, we here for nothing. But we wanted to stay just to see what it was like. And then we got in, and it was another fight. That was like the 3rd locked door.
Right.
And it was like over. And at that time, it was like, we came for nothing. Let's just share poetry with each other. And we just all went around and shared poetry with each other right there, right before you could get security checked. We sat at the security gate.
That's right.
And did poetry with each other.
That's right.
And the second we were done, like 1 second later, officer walks in the room and it's like, we got a group of 18-year-olds for y'all could do some poetry with. The young ones, they had their house on lockdown, but we extended some inmates for y'all, and y'all trip wasn't for nothing. By that time, it was about 12:15, and we were supposed to go from 11 to 1.
Something like that.
And what we had was 45 minutes, and we made that 45 minutes bounce.
Made it count.
Feel like everything. We got 3 or 4 of them 18-year-olds come up on stage and share their poetry, they rap with us, and everything turned out beautiful. And that's how I felt when I left. Like, when going, expect unexpected stops. The key is to expect unexpected stops, because behind every open door is another one that's locked. With that being said, my name is Quindell Evans, y'all.
All right. All right.
Oh, mother of mine, I've been blind. So blind that when I looked at you, I didn't realize that I stayed in the mirror the whole time. But it became clearer. Around the last time I shaved, I'm getting better, but it's getting weirder. But as I was going against the grain, watching water drops drip down the drain, I put my pinky in the water. It was cold. I had to make sure because Mama said cold water closes the pores. And as the water ran, I splashed it on my face. I jumped and was like, whoa, man, I'm a man. But I wouldn't be without that woman, that Wonder Woman that endured all woes from one man to deliver another. Along with some brothers to keep, some sisters to teach all she knows, to reap what we sow and keep peace and move slow, and indeed we will glow. About 2 years ago, my mother told me that she shed a tear and dropped it in the ocean for me. And if I find it, that's the day she'll stop loving me. Well, Mama, I won't look for that tear, but I'll swim every day hoping that your tear is covering me, hovering over me to protect me from every mammal, amphibian, or creature of the sea. And I may have to swim deep, so I hope that your tear is a bubble for me to breathe. Because when I emerge, soaking wet and short breaths and in need of drying, I'll say, love me, Mama. Because can't you see I've been crying, almost dying? Because Mother, may our time here exist righteously. Because I'm hyped to see a living example of Mama Men's against men's apprentice. Myths against men's apprentice. And this next sentence is something that's written within. That mom and every mother out there is more opulent than men. Mother of mine. I want to tell y'all that my mother just got discharged from the hospital today.
Woo!
And
We prayed.
and she started chemo last Friday, and she's looking good right now. And she out, and it's hard to see people that you love fade in your life. Like, it hurts. It really hurts, and you wish you could just control how long everyone lives. Like, if everybody in this room could live to 98, we could just be happy. That'd be cool, but this is my get well card that I made for my mother when she was in the hospital. This is one of them. I made like 2 of them. And this is a poem. The poem I just shared with you is the poem that I did for my mother for Mother's Day, this past Mother's Day. And that was right after her first surgery from this thyroid. So this time when she went to the hospital going through chemo, I made her this card. And on this card it says Mama Joyce, which is her name. And on the left side is Mama, on the right side is Joyce. You guys can help me sign this card. By taking the word mama and making an acronym out of it, or by taking the word Joyce and making an acronym out of it, or if anyone here is not that poetic, you could just write their own personalized get well message in the middle. There's some up there if y'all guys need to cheat and look at other people's. But I'm just really happy my mama is discharged from the hospital. I got some sticky notes here and some markers, and I'm gonna put this right here. Y'all can read the poem and check it out, the one that I just did.
Okay, cool.